Cisco entered the compute business. And some quotes we found from back then were, kind of saying, hey, Cisco's showing a lot of chutzpah to go into the business. Some of our competitors were saying we weren't going to make it. It was kind of a turbulent time in terms of the market, the IT market. And here's Cisco not going into the networking space, going into a whole new market space for compute where there was already set competitors who had been in the business, some of them 30, 40 years around compute. And then if you look at the economic environment at the time, March 2009 was probably as tough as it got around here, going back to the Great Depression. Right? We had a lot of the scandals, the stock market was in trouble, so March 2009 wasn't the best time to be going into a new market space and creating this wave that we've now created with UCS. So we fast forward to today. Okay, so we've been in the business 5 years, carved out this whole space for systems and cloud, along with our networking products for UCS. So 30,000 customers running their business on UCS. 75% of the Fortune 500 has invested in UCS. 3,800 plus channel partners. A lot of them here, for the conference, but out there selling and servicing and building new businesses for UCS. And from a technical perspective, 90 benchmark records in terms of the platform. So it's a really good story. We have to recognize the channel partners that are here in terms of the journey. They invested with us, they took a chance with us, we co-funded things together. We would not have achieved the success that we really had with UCS and really our whole business without the support of the Cisco channel. Some of them were just network channel partners, and when we came out with a compute line, it just started a whole new line of business for them. They probably wouldn't have invested into servers unless Cisco had one. And then you can see those practices blossom for new business opportunities around a full systems play, not just a network. And then we had some partners that already had an existing server practice, and we kind of had to ask them to maybe look a different way, maybe share shift, right? And then if you look at the competitors in the environment, lots changed since 5 years ago, right? IBM's went a different direction in their server business. Dell's went private, and HP 3 CEOs ago was still trying to figure out what was going on in this space, all right? But it was really our channel partner, which was a key velocity player for us in terms of getting us where we wanted to go for UCS. If you look at last year, last calendar year, really from a growth perspective in servers, we're the only ones growing. Outside of Dell, a couple of points. Cisco, from a growth perspective, is really the only vendor growing. And if you went back to the previous year, it'd actually be better. Right? So we're using the same components in terms of Intel processors, industry standard memory, operating systems from Windows, Microsoft, VMware, that everyone's using. Right? So how are we doing this? One is we knew we didn't come out to market with just a plain vanilla box. Right? We went to this whole game of converged infrastructure. Nobody talked about converged infrastructure 5 years ago. We created this whole category because we wanted to bring the value of the full system. And you'll see when Sony talks, the converged infrastructure designs and philosophies we have will now include ACI. The converged infrastructure will embrace our whole ACI play with the Nexus 9K follow-on software like 8-Bit. We're continuing some innovation. We recently made an acquisition called Whiptail, so we're now going to add flash memory to the portfolio for UCS. And this is directly listening to customers. We run what we call a UCS advisory board for the last 4 years. 2 years ago, our customers said, hey Cisco, what are you doing around flash? And they said, hey, we're looking at it, our technical team or our M&A team is looking at some different things, and we'll see where it goes. You fast forward to a year ago, they said, hey Cisco, we really need you to get into this from a performance optimization point of view. Or you're going to risk losing us as a customer. We think it's going to be important, which caused us to move in this space. So we'll have some flash alternatives for our customers. Really another innovation point for Cisco. But with all that, as I tell the story about UCS, and I was with it from the beginning, so I certainly am proud of it, Why did we win? Why are we winning? And it's really this whole play on what we call business outcomes. Right? We could tell you, how dense the system is, how we can eliminate cables, we could do a bunch of stuff with the technology. But it was really what customers were interested in as the business outcome. It was lower operating expenses if you're reducing reduce cabling from how many cables you need for each server. Right? From the benchmark perspective, it was really fact-based decision making was where our customers wanted to go. So if you see from the Cisco portfolio, really relentlessly focusing on the business outcome for those customers. And that was a key reason our channel helped us along, because we worked it together. Our channel partners were out there looking for the same business outcomes for those customers. And we had to have great base technology, don't get me wrong. We're very proud of the development team that puts this together. But it was the business outcomes which really drove the business. And what did we do? We exposed the server infrastructure to the application. We exposed it to the application so the application could make better decisions on it, run better, create more business value. And the message that I want to leave here today as I introduce Sony G and Donnie, we're doing the same thing for the network. That's what's going on with application-centric infrastructure today. Now you could argue we didn't know the compute space really well when we did. And now we have a pretty robust business. We're talking about exposing the value of the infrastructure to the application from the network. And that's a place we know pretty well. We've built our whole company on that. Right, so as I talk about the history of UCS and our story of success, it's really not to go back. It's really to go forward in terms of the market's confidence and our customers' confidence about delivering this new application-centric infrastructure. So I thank you for being with us today, and I want to introduce Sony G and Donnie to come up and take us through ACI.
Thank you.